Hi everybody, welcome to Assen in the Netherlands for round 16 of MXGP. And our guests on the studio show this week, joining myself and Adam Wheeler, are Jose Butron, Petar Petrov and Joel Smets, who right now is the rider coach at Rockstar Energy Suzuki. But it's going to be a busy weekend this weekend, Adam. We've got 125, 250 European champions to be crowned, 150 Honda CRF also to be decided, the veterans. But more importantly, in MXGP, the MXGP title could be decided at this historic venue on this historic occasion by an MXGP rookie, Romain Febvre.
Yeah, that's right, round 16 of 18, Paul. Last stop in Europe. Like you say, Romain Febvre right on the edge in MXGP, so he can only lose 1 point to Gautier Paulin and he wins the championship. So it's going to be exciting, and 60 years of this circuit here. I mean, I don't think they've ever seen a track laid over like the final famous chicane heading onto the start straight. So it's going to be interesting to see how that track copes with a little bit of rain forecast as well, all the sessions, all the riders on it, and we'll see what we find tomorrow. And obviously in MX2, it's still only 4 points between the top two, but Max Anstey is starting to sneak in there in third, isn't he now? Yeah, and I think that's a competition that's going to run right to the end. We've got Mexico and USA up next, flyaways, a little bit of a different environment, different circuits. We say goodbye to the sand as well as Europe today, well, this weekend. So, yeah, MX2 still to go to the wire. All right, well, obviously, before we catch up with our first guest, who is already in position here, Jose Butron, Marchetti Racing Team KTM, let's have a quick look what happened a week ago in Italy at the circuit of Mantova. Here's some highlights from race 2. Jose Butron up the inside, thought he'd made a better start this time, but it was Jeremy Van Hoorbeek who grabbed the foxhole shot. And by turn 2, Butron was down. His teammate, Genny Bobashev, clipped his teammate as he went through. And Romain Febvre was well placed. Sean Simpson likewise in second. But then he took the lead by turn 3 as Romain Febvre took a major look back to see exactly where Jose Butron was. And knowing that his rival was on the deck, he was able to concentrate on the task at hand, which was closing down Jeremy Van Hoorbeek on the number 89, his teammate. And this pass got him into second. And the Frenchman went after Simpson a lap later and very quickly took the lead. Philip Bengtsson made a good start on the 24 MX Honda as Max Nagel charged his way through the field as Butron found his way past Charlier to take 7th. Bobashev was battling with Nagel. He found a way through to get himself ahead of the German into 5th place. And Koldenhoff, who'd got to 3rd for 2 laps, then fell back down to 7th, allowing Sean Simpson back into 3rd place. Butron and Nagel were at it once more. And Butron then made this mistake, and he fell 2 positions from 6th to 8th, and would have it all to do again. Sean Simpson survived this scare and managed to hold on to 3rd with Jeremy Van Hoorbeek in his sights, who was doing a great job in 2nd position. But it was Max Nagel's turn to fall on the last lap with 3 or 4 corners to go, and the German would fall from 5th place and drop down to 10th. But it was a Yamaha 1-2 in race 2. Romain Febvre leading the way home. His teammate, Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. Simpson was 3rd, but Romain Febvre is now almost home and dry in his battle for the World Championship, and he'll look to try and seal the deal next time out at Assen.
It's not finished. Maybe it's gonna be finished next weekend, so we will see.
Romain Febvre there, really in a class of his own at the moment in MXGP. But our first guest joins us, Jose Butron, Marchetti Racing Team KTM. First time we've had him on the show this year, so welcome, Jose. Unfortunately, though, the MXGP season is almost over. You were a rookie in the class this year, your first time in with the big boys. How would you describe your season in this first year? Are you pleased with how it's gone, or were you expecting a little bit more?
Yeah, my goal on the beginning of the year was to finish in the top 15. Right now I'm 16 on the championship. Yeah, I'm happy about it's going my season because it is clear. No, MXGP is the hardest class in the world. I mean, I was there on the MX2 GP 2013, but I training harder than ever. I'm more professional right now, older, but it is the hardest class on the motocross on the world, MXGP. Yeah, my first season. I'm 24. I'm a rookie. Yeah, I'm happy about it going. Why not?
And obviously, you're riding a 350 at the beginning of the season. Did you feel maybe this was a slight disadvantage, or is it just you decided to go this direction because it was your first season and you thought maybe the 450 was too big a step?
Yeah, I choose at the beginning of the year for 350. I ride the factory bike from Antonio from last year, Cairoli. I was thinking it was a good bike. I'm good started, I can make some whole shots on the season. I say, yeah, I choose for 350. Well, the step is like a little bit smaller than 250 from 450, and in 2016 I will go for 450, but I choose for chain. Mantova was my first GP on the new bike on the 450.
Mm-hmm.
Take a new KTM 450 2016 standard bike is an amazing bike. I already did a first whole shot of the season in the first moto in Mantova. Yeah, that's my strongest point, the whole shot, and just go. So.
Just looking at these images here, Lockett, you were running up front. It wasn't the first time you had a good start. I remember Matterley, you were inside the top 10. But what's been happening? Because you've made some good starts, but then you've gone just backwards a little bit. Was that maybe nervous pressure or just tiring, or what is the situation?
I really don't know. When I do some good starts, normally I just thinking to go in the front, but like in MXGP, I told you the hardest class in the motocross. I feel a little bit scared. The guys like we see Paulen was behind me. I want to close all the way for nobody pass me, but that's the wrong way. You just make your lines and just go, and that's give me some stress, arm pump. I struggle a little bit, and the riding then is not good. I ride better when I start 20 or 15. I just focus to go in front than when I make whole shot. But that's wrong.
Yeah, it's almost the same. When you go down in the first corner, you ride afterwards on instinct. You don't think too much about the race. You just do it.
Sadly.
Jose, when you came into MXGP because of your age as well, you reached 23. Do you think did you want more time on the 250? Did you want to stay more in MX2 because you had such a good season in 2013, third in the world? Do you feel like you were pushed to the bigger bike?
I would like to have one more year in MX2. Because I was 3, then the KTM gave me a factory bike, and I was 9. Worse than 2013, I was riding for KTM Silveration with kit bike. And I would like to have one more year in MX2 because you see the class. I like to make MX2 riding, my style. But that's life. Just to make that decision to put us on MXGP, and I not think anymore in MX2. I just focus on the 450.
Some people say that a rider is a 250 rider. Maybe he's too small, or not such a big guy for the bigger bike. Do you believe in that, or do you believe a rider can ride anything?
No, I believe I'm 176. I'm 72 kilos. I think my riding style is for 250. Because I don't know, but I feel on the 250 like it's my bike. I can ride. I have fun with that bike, not with the big bike. I think 450 too much power. You see everybody's crashing too much on the limit. And sometimes, some places, I feel, no, man, stop a little bit because we go so fast in some tracks like this in Assen. You think when you can crash, go off the track, little bit risky. So I'm riding on the 90%. I don't like to go on my limit on the big bikes.
You say the 450 has a lot of power, and you used it in Mantova last week for your first hole shot. That was pretty impressive, considering it was a stock bike as well.
Yeah, stock bike, for sure. No, 450 is big power, but in some places we go 4-5 gear, 100 per hour speed. I feel sometimes if you crash here, man.
This felt good though, didn't it?
Yeah.
First one of the year.
Yeah.
And what, 2 years ago was it last year or 2 years ago you took last year.
Last year.
The Fox Hole Shot Prize in MX2.
MX2, yeah.
What's been happening?
Sorry?
What happened? Where have all the hole shots gone?
I don't know.
More importantly, what's the secret?
There is no secret. Everybody try to copy me. I see everybody with the telephone, with the cameras, try to look at me every time. They ask me where. They offer me money for training, for make good starts. I said, no, there is no secret. I even no training, no one start in the season. I just go to Qatar. I know training is just everything in your head. Everybody go crazy about the sprocket, about the bike, about this. But the secret is don't think.
Yeah, but you have that little rolling technique as well. That's something a little bit different.
Sometimes, but it is risky because when the gate, sometimes 6 seconds, sometimes 7, sometimes 5. You don't know exactly. You have to be quickly reflex. But the biggest secret is don't think. The night before, everybody think about the start. They think too much, and then it's not good to start. When you don't think and go, that is the secret.
But we did see the whole shot there last week, and again for a couple of laps you were running up front with Roman Federer, Jeremy Van Horbeek. How good did that make you feel? I know you made a mistake after that and fell down the order, but it must have given you a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, they give me. I'm mentally right now with the 450. I'm more stronger. I feel like I can fight with that guy. Like mentally, like confident. I start in front. I say, yeah, that's my system. That's my technique to fight, because I like to fight on the track, because it is my work. It is not. I don't go in the track to have fun. Like everybody think we have fun, but it is my work. When somebody pass me, I need to pass back. Everybody say, Butron is too wild, Butron this. Yeah, but it's my work. What I do? When you go work, everybody pass you, I need to pass back. Or I have to try nobody pass me if I make hole shot or not. So that's life.
But obviously now riding, we're almost out of time, but riding the rest of the season on the 450. Will we see you in Mexico and in US? Yeah,
of course.
Looking forward to those races?
Yeah, Motocross of Nation. I will represent KTM 450, but on the Spanish team. An MXGP class with my teammate will be Zaragoza MX2 and Underbaren team Open.
How many years now you were KTM?
From 2011.
So quite a few. 5. So
5.
is it going to be 6 next year, you think?
I think yes, but yesterday somebody told me you need change, you need some good new motivation. Everybody, I was thinking last night, yeah, maybe it's true when you change the bike or the team. But I'm really happy about KTM because KTM Spain helped me because I'm winning in Spain. I feel KTM, I think one of the best bikes. No one bike from a standard bike can make whole shot like I did last weekend. I feel like KTM family. We will see. I hope to be in KTM again. We will see today, and after this weekend, I will know my future.
Okay, well, Jose Butron, Marchetti Racing Team, KTM, thanks for joining us. We are out of time with you, but our next guest is waiting. That is Petar Petrov, Team Monster Energy Kawasaki. He's up next, but before we meet him, let's see what happened in Mantova 1 week ago. Here's some highlights from MX2 Race 2. After losing vital ground to his rivals, Paul Jonas and Tim Geisep in Race 1, it was time to focus for Valentin Guillot if he was going to claw back those points in his quest for a first world title. A good start would be needed. And when the gate dropped, it wasn't a good jump for the number 92, and it was to get worse as well. Before he made it to turn 1, he was involved in this horrendous collision that took out the 2 Suzukis of Siwa, Brian Shute, Damon Growlers, and the 92 of Valentin Guillot himself. But it was Henry Jacobi, number 29 on the Sarholz KTM, that took the foxhole shot, as Valentin Guillot remounted and rejoined the race. Max Anstey, though, wasted no time in getting to the front Jonas was there in second. Geiser just a few positions further back. Benoit Paturel was in third, going after the 41 of Jonas. As Guillaume, trying extra hard, made a few more mistakes in the early stages of the race, going out of 19th place there, losing positions down to 22nd. As Bernardini also made some mistakes. He crashed out of 13th place on his TM. Jonas, Paturel and Geiser, though, all battled over second position for the majority of the race. Geiser found his way past the Frenchman. Got himself into third with that move through the chicane to the delight of his home crowd. And then he went after Jonas and took second away from the Latvian. Unfortunately for him, Max Anstey was too far gone on his number 99 Kawasaki, who was looking supremely confident. And he went on to take the win ahead of Geiser and Jonas. Paturel was fourth, Getterman was fifth, and it was Anstey who was victorious this weekend ahead of Geiser and Jonas. And Paul's Jonas still has a 4-point advantage over Tim Geiser. Anstey propelled to third in the fight for the title with that double moto win. And the championship now looks like it's coming down to these three guys. Well, that was 1 week ago in Mantova, and Petar Petrov, our next guest, joins us now from MX2, of course, Team Monster Energy Kawasaki. Peter, the second half of the season, you look to be, more comfortable than you have been in this MX2 category. But at the start of the year, answer it if you want or not, but you were a KTM rider. Obviously, you changed halfway through the season. What were the reasons behind that? If you can, was it more a case of just riding in the British Championship as well? Did that have something to do with it?
No, it was just the results were not there, and I don't know, it was just not working. I mean, I had to travel quite a lot because of the British Championship, and I was just, things didn't came together and as good as we both wanted, the team and myself. So I think it was in the best case that we split and everybody does his job, and everybody, they're happy that obviously they want maybe take another rider and get better results, and so am I. So I changed to Kawasaki, and that was a good opportunity for me, and I ended up quite well, and it's been working pretty good at the moment. So everything has been on place and working well.
And the move to Kawasaki came because Dylan Ferrandis was out injured, I take it?
Yeah, Dylan got injured, and after that I got the opportunities to replace him, and everything came together. It was a great opportunity for me, and it's been good since then.
Was it a difficult period? Did you get a lot of stick from some people for a short time because you switched halfway through the season? Or was it actually generally okay?
It was quite okay. I mean, they could see that things didn't work, and it was quite okay.
But what about changing teams and bikes and working systems and mechanics and all that mid-season? Was that like a bit hard to get your head around?
Yeah, not really, because I'm a rider that gets quite quickly used to bikes and stuff, but it took some time, obviously. I went to England with only 2 practices on the bike, and it didn't go as planned, but also it's not my favorite track, so it's still a Dent. I came out 2 times top 10, I believe, so it was, the Dent of the day was quite a good weekend, and we had afterwards some testing, and just kept on getting better and better.
Like you say, it took a little while to settle in, obviously for the changes that Adam said, new bike, new team, probably new suspension, new mechanic, all that kind of thing. But by the time you got to Germany, things were looking pretty good for you. You ran up front the whole moto in the first race and eventually came home in 4th.
Yeah, Germany was so good. I started, I don't know, like 7th or something. So I ended up 4th, and it was really good weekend. Unfortunately, second moto, first we hit the gate, me, Valentin, and Jordi. But then we had a little bike issue, but it was all good. And then Tuesday, I believe afterwards, we went testing, and I had a little tip over and I broke my collarbone, which was unfortunate. But I came back quite strong in Locket, so everything kept on getting better.
I guess when you did the collarbone, you have a result like that, 4th place, and you must have been thinking, man, not now, why me? All those negative thoughts.
Yeah, sure, but that's motocross, and we gotta think of it's part of racing. And yeah, it was unfortunate, but you know, a lot of things happen during the season, changes and stuff. So if it's only a collarbone, I'm happy.
What about Lommel? Because I believe, I don't know, but maybe I wasn't paying attention. But again, I think you were running up front. Didn't you take like a third place finish in one race and pick up a first podium? Must have been. Was it Lommel? I think it was Lommel.
Was it true that you did it with your eyes closed?
No, actually, everybody says that I've been practicing a lot in Lommel and stuff, but pretty much everybody's around.
Yeah.
It's in Lommel, so they can't really say that that's the reason why I podium. And
track looked pretty gnarly this year.
the track was unbelievable this year, and you know, practice and racing in Lommel, it's completely different story. So I felt like I didn't roll so good actually, but I got my first podium, so I'm pretty happy, and I don't mind riding bad until the end of the season.
What were you thinking? Because obviously you've never been on the podium before, but even in the first race, finishing as high as third. So it was your first moto podium finish, you know, your podium rostrum. What was going through your head in the final stages of the race? Were you looking at the clock thinking, still there's 15 minutes to go? One lap later, still only 14 and a half minutes to go, and it was just kind of becoming the longest race?
Yeah, pretty much. Second motor was really long, and I made a mistake. You know, I put too much energy into Saturday, so I woke up quite tired Sunday morning, and it's not a good feeling to wake up quite tired in Lommel.
No, you're right. You are on a new team, as we said, Team Monster Energy Kawasaki. Do you feel now, from a psychological point of view, that there's more motivation for you to work harder? I mean, I don't know how hard you train, and I'm not sort of saying when you were at KTM or at the other teams before you didn't train as hard as everybody else, but have you noticed anything different where you're now in this team, this factory team, you have had to feel like, actually, here's an opportunity, I can't throw it away. I know you're signed for another 2 years, but you're maybe working a little bit harder to make it happen, if you like?
I think it's more, I was working quite hard. I can say that I'm hard worker, but you know, when the results are there, you just have the pleasure going to training and stuff with happy. You know that you're working for the right reasons, and everything is just there. So it is. I go practice, and then, you know, when there is a little bit extra, you give it. You know, even if it's practice in the gym or running or whatever, you're happy. So you do your best. You know the team does their best, and you try to not disappoint them.
This is your fourth, fifth season MX2? I mean, you were 15 when you started.
2008, I think you had
2010, fifth season, I think. Fifth season?
You're right.
Fifth or sixth
Fifth
season?
full season, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the SRS Honda when you were 15.
Honda.
So Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha?
No, Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, Yamaha.
KTM.
Sixth season.
Yeah.
So
been around a while. Obviously, brand new track here. How's it shaping up? I know it's short. It's a short lap, 1:30, something like that. But do you think it's going to get really rough?
It's quite rough already, but it's different. It's the sand is quite loose and soft. Yeah, it's really different than other tracks, and it's not typical sand track. It's something different, and I think will be interesting how it will turn out.
Ben, one thing I always hear people say when they mention your name is that he's too big. He has to get off at 250. Needs to be on a 450. You know, do you? I don't know, can you still get to the top in MX2, you know, especially if you're fighting against smaller, younger guys?
I know people are saying, but I'm pretty much trying to prove them wrong. I know I'm big and I'm quite heavy for the bike, but I got a podium with my weight and the way I am. So my goal is to move up with good results in MX2 first. So that's my goal, and I have 2 more years to accomplish it.
Good. Well, before we leave you, before you leave us, just one question from Dutch Motocross on Instagram. Why the number 152?
I don't know. I got it when I was young. It was German championship, and we were choosing numbers, and they gave me 152. So I decided to stick to it, and people know me with 152. So I just got to stick to it.
All right. Well, obviously, we wish you all the best this weekend in Assen and for the rest of the season. Petar Petrov, thanks for joining us here. Right. Competition time now. And once again, let's see how you can win with Get Athena. Right, all you have to do, of course, in our competition, as always, is take a picture at this MXGP race showing the Athena or Get logo and upload the picture with the hashtag MXGP or hashtag Athena live on our MXGP Facebook page. And the most voted for picture at the end of the day will win an OGO backpack and proceed to the next step in the competition. And the top 3 during the season, top 3 pictures that is, will qualify for the Athena photo competition after the Motocross of Nations, where the finalists will go head-to-head to win more fantastic prizes, which include 2 VIP passes to an MXGP race of your choice in 2016, a GoPro prize, and an OGO prize as well. And good luck with that. But don't forget to post your pictures on our MXGP Facebook page. Go to more information at our website, mxgp.com. And also our mid-season sale is still running, where the 50% discount pass, which includes the FIM Monster Energy Motocross of Nations, and that includes Saturday's qualifying races as well. Right, our final guest is in place. Joel Smets, of course, former world champion, only the 5 times. One of Belgium's most successful riders. But this year he's been a rider coach to the riders at Rockstar Energy, Suzuki World MXGP, and I believe Glenn Coldenhoff as well at Suzuki Europe. So welcome, Joel, to the studio show. The first time I think you've been on our show.
Yep, that's correct.
First of all, though, there's no disguising the fact, is it? It's been a very, very difficult year for Suzuki, Commander Sal with his injury, and now Kevin Strybos.
Yeah, not only for us. I think it's Suzuki. I think for whole motocross scene, it's been a pretty difficult year with all the top guys getting injured. So that's really something we have to overthink altogether a little bit and see how we can avoid that in the future.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of people, again, you hear in the paddock a lot of people saying it's the tracks need to change and everything else. But when you start to break down, and I don't want to spend too long on this, but when you start to break down the individual crashes that some of these guys have had, actually not many of them are to blame on the circuit. When you look at Jeffrey Hurlings, for instance, it was a scrub in Germany where he broke a collarbone, or he was hit by Tixier. That wasn't the track. Or Desal, when he landed off a jump and dislocated his shoulder, he was hit by another rider as he tried to, get himself back in shape. Nagel slid out in Germany and was hit by another rider just first lap. 9 times out of 10, you pick yourself up. And there are other similarities like that. Maybe Tony's injury in Italy, where he took off in a rut that had a hole in it, maybe you could say, and maybe Kevin, landing short on a jump last week that he tried. I don't know.
Yeah, you can always turn it around the way you want, but definitely the tracks are part of the problem we have.
It's like 4 things for me. You got the tracks, 450s, the riders' performance now. They seem to be more acrobatic on the bike than they ever have been, and then also the performance of the bike, suspension, and all sorts.
Yeah, we've been going through it already. I think with the industry a little bit, and the tracks are part of it. The bikes, I'm not too sure. I think my 600 25 years ago was at least as powerful as the 450s now. But there, the biggest difference is the suspension. So the suspensions nowadays are working so good. They're giving the riders so much confidence, so they can ride faster. Let's say the speed at the edge, it's much higher than back in our days. So it's not just the power, but it's the suspension, it's the tracks, it's the shorter race time. But definitely there are too many obstacles on the tracks, and the riders can't keep up that focus for 35 minutes. So.
But do you think some of the issue as well, I mean, there was the riders meeting with the FIM in Lockett, I believe, where I went with the media guys after the riders, and I made the comment that actually back in our day, they never used to touch the tracks really from Saturday right the way through to Sunday. So tracks got a lot rougher. Yeah. And you kind of almost had to respect the track a little bit more. You couldn't always go full gas. Do you think maybe some of the tracks are prepped too well in some respects, where they take out the bumps because riders say, oh, it's a bit sketchy, and then they take bumps here and then they hit bumps high speed just around the corner, or not?
I don't really believe that's going to make a difference whether the track is flat or bumpy or very bumpy, because as I said already, the suspensions nowadays are so good. Yeah. So even when it gets rougher, they can go faster on a rougher track than 20 years ago. That's the problem. And then suddenly when they get thrown off, then you have a problem, of course, because the speed you crash with is higher. And also the fact there are many obstacles, like you're mentioning Tony's crash in Italy, but those stupid little funny obstacles, they weren't there the year before. Right. So if that was last year, then he wouldn't have crashed. So and even the crash, that's what I mean with if you can turn it around the way you want and the way you want it to work in your favor, but that the result is still that we have injury. And if you look at the crash of Ryan de la Porta in Arco, okay, that's a flat spot. But the thing is, you have to imagine, if you're on a bike, you've been a racer yourself, you're trying to find spots on the track where you can relax and breathe just a little bit. And the more obstacles there are, the less places there are to relax and breathe. And for sure, Ryan has come on that flat spot at the track and think like, okay, I can sit back, literally sit back, but too far to the back and relax and just flick the throttle. But the focus is just a little bit too much off, and he backflipped. So, I mean, that's definitely all in relation to each other.
So Joel, what's like an easy solution? What's the first thing someone could do to try and stop these injuries?
If I would have an easy solution, it would be on the table. It would have been on the table already a while ago. So that's what I mean. I'm not pretending I'm having the solutions, but I'm having the solution. But maybe we have to think a little bit even out of the box. I already mentioned from even trying maybe limiting the stroke of the fork and the shock. Okay, maybe that sounds stupid because that's stepping back, but if that can prevent injuries, why not considering it? So like the bikes are less forgiving, so the guys have to go slower on the bumps.
But then you've just hit the nail on the head. Sometimes the guys are so hell-bent on racing that they maybe just forget that there is a racetrack here that is bumpy and the throttle does work both ways. Sometimes you just... And I know it's difficult when you're a racer, you know.
Yeah,
I
but
know.
then it's an issue of respect, isn't it?
Well, but the problem, Paul, is that back in the days, the warning came earlier with suspension that didn't work that well. The warning came. You would come out of the corner and flick the throttle. It would get bumpy, and you would get a warning already before and close the throttle. While nowadays, you come out of the throttle, palm wide open, hang on it, and then suddenly when the warning comes, it's no warning anymore. It's thrown off. So that's the biggest difference. So that's why I was thinking like, okay, we should try to get it to some situation. Okay, you can take the power down. That's another thing. That's all right, 80cc bikes or whatever. But still, if the suspension, an 80cc bike also goes 120 k's an hour. If the suspension still is that good, you're going to still have crashes with 120 k's an hour, for example, to exaggerate maybe a little bit. But so
even if you talk about reducing the power of the 450, the 250s are going almost the same speed as a 450.
That's what I mean. But
that has to be quite a drastic step.
So yeah, that's what I mean. So you nearly have to go and ride 50cc's. That's not what we want to end up with, I think. So it's going to be a combination, maybe a little bit left, maybe a little bit right. I think the track's a little bit. The time we were racing, maybe. If I was thinking about, if you look at the crashes from, for example, from Jeffrey, for instance, like in Teutschenthal, he's really in a rush and a hurry to take that first spot as soon as possible, because the race distance is 10 minutes shorter than it was a few years ago. So a few years ago, he wouldn't have been in such a hurry, I think.
This is a qualifying race as well.
In Sweden, the same thing happened. Actually, more or less first corner, like I have to hurry and try to get in front first as soon as possible. So I mean, I think you can't point at one single thing which is the reason, but we have to consider it and look at it together, all of us, and find a solution, because really the parking place with the how do you call it, with the wheelchairs, that spot's getting too big, and every time when somebody gets hurt, even if it isn't that bad, it hurts at least me, and I think also you guys. You don't want to see people get hurt.
Well, let's talk about your role then as a rider coach. How has that been working with the likes of Clement, De Sal, Kevin Strybos, and Glenn Coldenhoff? You obviously work with all three riders.
Yes.
Let's talk about Clement to start with. How is he to work with? What are his strengths and weaknesses, if any? How has it been working with him? Because you've been working with him for a while.
Yeah, I know Clement, of course, for quite a while also, because he's been a member, even before I was working for Suzuki, he's been a member of the Motorcycles of Nations team. And Clement is, let's say, very well organized with his own little team with himself and his father. So the question for me was there, for instance, to see where I could bring something extra, and I knew that was not going to be a lot. But if you're like finishing runner-up already quite a few times, you don't need maybe a lot. So, Clement, his strong point is at the same time his weak point maybe a little bit. So he's pretty strong in the head. He knows what he can. He's very ambitious. Yeah, like that was Argentina. He was having a pretty good fight with Tony there. So he's not given up. He can take a lot of pain and stuff like that. But and if he has a certain idea or a certain opinion, he's really. The strong thing is that he's really convinced about it, and that he gets the power out of it. But on the other hand, sometimes if you stick too long with a certain idea or an opinion or a technical setup or something, at the end that can be sometimes a little disadvantage as well. So with Clement, he was really strong in the head, and if you wanted to convince him about something, you really had to prove it not 1 but 3 times before he was convinced that maybe he had to try something. Or
but then on the other hand, working with Kevin, you seem to be there was a lot closer. There was more of a collaboration there.
Yeah, that's true. But that was also meant to be like that from the beginning. Like I know Kevin from when he was 16, when I was a racer myself. Still, we've been racing. We've been teammates. We've been training. And even racing a lot together back in the past. And Kevin is a different type of guy. Clement does his thing, and he doesn't need anybody else, and he knows what he has to do, and he does it. But Kevin needs sometimes that motivation, that little kick in the ass, and he knows he's like that. So he was open for advice and to work closer. So actually, both having if we would have had 2 riders like Kevin in the team, that would have been difficult for me, because that's hard. It's so like now, like nearly 80% of my time was spent with Kevin, let's say, and only a little bit with Clement. So it was for me, it was often a matter of trying to find where you are needed most. And the same thing because then Glenn came afterwards actually. But when Clement got injured or when Kevin got injured, then you can spend more time with the younger boys. So but it was okay.
But then the situation with Glenn again was different, because he was Kevin was the grizzled veteran, if you like, and then Glenn was the rookie coming in this year, wasn't he? Yeah,
but it worked also quite well, because they're coming along quite well, just because maybe because of the age difference, because Kevin has won GPs in the past, has been runner-up in the championship before, so he has proven himself. And Glenn knew he could learn from Kevin, and on the other hand, Glenn was like kind of a motivation for Kevin as well to keep up the rhythm and to keep on doing well. So like we've spent nearly 3 weeks together in the US getting ready for the season, and that was we had a really nice time together there with a small group and these guys motivating each other.
Were you surprised when he went out and won the first race so easily in Latvia, Glenn Koldenhoff?
Yeah, I would be stupid if I would say that I wasn't surprised. If there was one guy out there who wasn't surprised, that he's lying. He's lying, because even still now, and then Kevin was close to him. Even I was even surprised with the performance of Kevin. But both, we were even on the headphones during the race. I was on the backside of the track, and with the mechanics, I couldn't believe when they were saying the lap times, like again 4 seconds a lap faster. But you're not talking about Johnny Weekend or whoever. You're talking about Paulin. You're talking about Van Orebeke. Jesus, that was unreal. So for us, that was a surprise as well, just as for everybody.
And it's still the only Suzuki win this season, isn't it? Still
overall, Yeah, Clement obviously had race wins.
Unfortunately, okay.
Yeah, he had race wins, and he took the red plate, led it for a couple of rounds, but just wasn't able to. But consistency until he got hurt was what was getting him there, wasn't it? And
was perfect.
Sometimes you don't have to win a race, as Paul Jonas is showing at the moment. He's not winning races, he's not winning overalls, but he's still 4 points clear in MX2.
I think the last world title Suzuki won was also a world title without winning a GP,
but he won races.
Steve Ramon.
He won a race, I think.
All right.
Did he win a GP?
Not a GP.
Okay, he won a moto maybe, but he didn't win a GP, I think, that year. So, but at least at the end of the year, if you win the championship, you're the king.
That's all that matters. But we're out of time with you, Joel. But obviously, you've been at Suzuki for a while. Obviously, you're moving on next year. A new challenge, obviously, going to be with KTM next year. Are you looking forward to that? Obviously, a team you know well from winning titles with them in the past. Yeah,
that's true. I spent some time.
What's your role going to be there?
More than a few years. Yeah, my role's going to be to take care of the riders. Pretty much actually the same as what I'm doing now with Suzuki. So, trying to help bring my experience in as well in the MX1 as in the MX2 team and overlook also a little bit the junior team. The final setup with the juniors and stuff like that isn't ready yet, but MX1 and MX2 is going to be is pretty much done. And we're going to have a central workshop for MX1 and MX2 in Belgium, which I'm going to take care of as well. So, it's quite a big challenge. I'm on the other end also a little bit sad because yeah, I've really enjoyed working with Suzuki and with the people there. Every morning at breakfast, even with the boys in the hotel or something, we're joking like, okay, this is one of our last breakfasts and stuff together. It's a little bit sad because it's because of the situation that the things have changed, and I really loved working with the boys and really came along very well. So from that side, I'm a little bit sad, but that doesn't take away the fact that I'm really looking forward also to a nice challenge feels like coming home a little bit as well at KTM. Brings back nice old memories and stuff. So, it's exciting.
And just quickly, how is your headache as team manager of Team Belgium at Motocross of the Nations? Because it must be hard to change plans every week, it seems.
Well, that's not difficult. I always think like, okay, Motocross of Nations, it's only one time a year and it's not a lot of work. I can dig that as well because, that's like, I'm doing that as a volunteer actually. But like the last couple of weeks, I can't believe how many emails and stuff I've been sending, and I was dreaming of a team with Clement, Kevin and Jeremy at a certain stage just before Clement got injured. And even when he came back, when he was doing well in Loquet, I thought like, we can put Jeremy on the 250 and Kevin and Clement in the MX1 Open class. We're gonna have a good fight in France and then try to fight for the win. But then it all fell apart a little bit. But nevertheless, we stay motivated and try. I'm trying to get another team on the rails, and looks like those guys are motivated as well. So it's gonna be different, but we'll try as much as we can.
All right, Joel Smets, the rider coach for the Rockstar Energy Suzuki World MXGP riders, and Glenn Koldenoff at Rockstar Energy Suzuki Europe as well. Thanks for joining us here this weekend.
No problem.
Well, round 16 of MXGP is making its own little piece of history this weekend. The tarmac here is buried underneath the sands to create this special circuit here within the confines of the stadium. And Romain Febvre will be looking to make his own little piece of history this weekend as he vies in his quest for lifting that title in MXGP in his rookie season. Join us all for the action live on TV on MXGPTV.com. Hope you enjoy the weekend. So will we. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.